I'd call this meeting of the Board of License Commissioners, the Liquor Control Board of Garrett County to order. Today is Thursday, September 9th. It is approximately 9:10 a.m. Ms. Ostin, the administrator, are there any corrections or additions or deletions to the agenda?
No, there are not.
Hearing none, I have a motion to adopt the agenda.
I make a motion we accept the meeting agenda.
Is there a second?
So moved.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes? Hearing no corrections. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes of the previous meeting as presented?
I make a motion we approve the minutes as written.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
I move that the minutes be adopted as presented. Is there a second? Hearing none, they are adopted by mutual consent. Ms. Ostin, would you present the administrative items, please?
Yes, thank you. Senate Bill 205, House Bill 12. We'll review that based on the letter from the Restaurant Association of Maryland and the Maryland State Licensed Beverage Association. That's for the allowance to carry out mixed drinks and delivery. For the record, we did not meet in August in public. We had a teleconference meeting, so the board signed the official approval for the 2021-2022 renewals. The motion was made by Commissioner Moe, motion was made by Chairperson Moe, second by Commissioner Herman, and unanimously approved by Commissioner Frotz. Also, for the record, the Health Department approved the interim seating at Hometown Pizzeria. The interim seating is an increase to 35, and they will stay at that seating number until their septic system expansion is approved by the Health Department. Dawn Patron is in the process of replacing their local license holder. That should be probably in the next, I'd say 2 weeks. We should have everything in order for them. Maybe a little longer, but you guys give them 90 days to get their local applicant fingerprinted, new driver's license, and the change to their LLC. The Wildham Farm Music Festival, the event was proposed to take place the last weekend of August. It did not happen. The event coordinator decided to postpone the event due to the rise in COVID numbers. That was the farm off of Sang Run Road that we had spoke about. They do plan to come back in the spring and have events, so we will work on getting them licensed for their events versus using the state manufacturers coming to the event. Shooter's Bar and Grill closed. They plan to request a license be placed on hold and while seeking new owners or a new location. So if you guys could make a decision to agree that the license could be technically put on hold while they seek a new location or new owners. I have a motion to approve that, placing the license on hold.
I make a motion we put the license on hold.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carried.
Smoke and Mirrors is seeking a request from the board to approve a beer and wine tasting option. They are located down here on 3rd Street. They have events, and when the public's been coming in, they wanted to add that option to their experience there at the art gallery. So do we have a motion to approve them for a beer and wine tasting option?
I make a motion we approve the Smoke and Mirrors beer and wine tasting option.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Okay, Ed King is working on a new book about Garrett County and Deep Creek Lake, and he's seeking some history, alcohol history from Prohibition. He's asking questions about the transition between the Prohibition and the dispensaries in the county. And he also wants some information on Sunday sales and current licensing in the Deep Creek Lake area. So I've reached out to a couple different individuals and looked for old minutes. So back at Prohibition, the county commissioners were also controlling the alcohol licensing. So I have copies of those minutes. Really didn't find much. There was supposedly a book of minutes called the beer minutes. So I'm trying to locate those. We'll work with Maryland Archives to see if they have anything on that. In the meantime, I have a whole history file that had enough information for Ed to get what he's looking for. And I told him I could be his expert on Sunday sales because I've been through Sunday sales. So we'll get that to him. And the current licensing at the Deep Creek Lake area, he just wants to know where businesses are. And luckily we have a GIS map that shows that saturation of establishments. So my next, I'll be reaching out to a couple former attorneys with the liquor board, as well as I checked with Gary Mollick and Joe Howe, and they didn't know as much as I thought they would, although Gary Mollick gave me a couple links to different things and the Historical Society documents, which I had some of those in my file. So it's an ongoing process. So we will be part of, there's going to be a chapter dedicated in this book to alcohol. And so if you guys remember anything or know of anybody that would have information, Ed and I would be glad to talk to some people. We've been working, George Collins is another source. He believes he was the second licensed package store after the dispensaries closed, and we know that Grantsville liquor store was the location of the Grantsville dispensary. So that's an ongoing work in progress, and if anybody wants to join in on the fact finding, let me know and we'll include you on our calls and meetings. Next on the agenda, just to list some nonprofit events that are going on. This weekend, the Deep Creek Lake Art and Wine Festival will be conducted at the Garrett County Fairgrounds. Friday night, they have their premiere tasting night, and Saturday's the big event. As you guys know, they applied for the state nonprofit beer and wine festival 2-day license because our beer and wine festival license that was crafted for them was just for Saturday. So we'll put that on our legislation to have a 2-day license. The Deep Creek Volunteer Fire Company is also having a crab feast on September 11th. And they put in notifications they're going to have a gun bash on October 16th. Wilhelm Recreation will conduct a bull roast as well on Saturday, September 11th. And I have not received an official word from the Oakland Volunteer Fire Department, but we know that they are not planning on Oktoberfest in the parking lot. So if they come up with a different location, I will let you guys know, and we'll seek the proper approval from the property owner. That's all I have on the agenda items. Does anyone have any questions about any of the events or concerns?
Hearing none.
All right. Liz, do you have any comments or questions on our agenda items or the upcoming licensed events?
Oh, I don't.
Okay. Right now, there's no restrictions on any events. So if something should happen, I'll be sure to let you guys know. But right now, events can occur without any restrictions. All right. Okay, Dave, we're at 9:20, a couple minutes early. Our applicant is here. We're ready to go.
We're now having the license hearing for the Grantsville Lions Club. Paul Edwards and Dwayne Stein. So you want to go ahead with that? You want to be sworn in, Mr. Edwards? Please stand. Would the attorneys please swear you in?
Hi, Paul. If you could raise your right hand for me, please.
You do solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief.
I do.
Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Paul Clayton Edwards, 112 Parkview Drive, Grantsville, Maryland, 21536.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Oston, the floor is yours.
All right. Okay, so for the, once again, this is a 920 hearing for a special Class C per diem multi-event license, beer, wine, and liquor. It's for 5 events, and it's in accordance with the Maryland Annotated Code Alcoholic Beverages Article 21-1310. The application is the Grantsville Lions Club, as you guys remember, had a couple different one-day per diem licenses, and it was recommended that if they're going to have more than one a year, 2, possibly 3, then the multi-event license would be the way to go. So they applied for that license. They have a couple upcoming events. You're going to have an Oktoberfest celebration, correct?
We are on October 2nd.
Okay, and then next, it looks like June, we have on written down for June 25th and June 26th for upcoming.
We would like to do two days of Grantsville days instead of 1. And we would like to, we're thinking about doing something at Grantsville's Winterfest, Christmas in the Village. And potentially something in St. Patrick's.
Perfect. Okay. So the way the multi-event works, it's similar to the same sheet that we filled out for the per diem. It's just you have to notify us at least 7 days in advance. We will take this sheet for your next 3 events. And then if you add the Christmas in the Village or St. Patrick's Day, just send me a form and we'll go from there. For the record, the premise is, in general, it's going to be the field at the town park.
Yes, the winter events would be different, but anything we do spring, fall, or summer would be at Grantsville.
Okay. I will send you a blank page for the owner of the property. So let's just say if you have it at the Penn Alps Villages there, or the Grantsville Fire Department, the new social hall, or something like that, they just have to sign off as owner of the property, understanding that the property is subject to inspection. The events are typically open to the public. They typically have a cash bar. If you have any type of event where alcohol is included in a ticket cost, say like a gun bash, the alcohol has to be served. You couldn't have an open keg. The law reads that it's illegal to serve an intoxicated person, so our board goes with the fact that someone has to be serving. The events, you have to have at least 1 person with certified alcohol awareness training, which you guys have several, so that's not an issue. If you have new members that need trained or anything, let me know. I'll see what trainings are coming up. A couple of the questions on the, just to go over our questionnaire for the record. The alcohol has to be purchased typically from a wholesaler, but with this license, you can also purchase from a retailer. And the only restriction is it can't be donated. It can't be from out of state. So if somebody wanted to make a donation or donate alcohol, you would want them to make a cash donation to you or a gift certificate, maybe to Grantsville Liquors or something like that. So all receipts for the alcohol have to be available for inspection. The license has to be posted at the event. I laminated it so that it'll withstand a couple different events. Your policies on wristbanding and carding, make sure all your staff are aware of that, or anybody that's maybe volunteering work on the perimeter, that they're aware of. You know, if you use wristbands, that if someone has a beer and they look under 30, if that's your guideline, that they have a wristband on. Wristbands I can get from the health department for you without any trouble. Currently they have 12 certified tips concessions trained staff. In the event, the typical cup size you're put down will be a 12 ounce or a pint. In the event you choose something different, just make sure you're aware that the serving size in a pitcher of beer is 3 to 5 beers versus if you're monitoring cups and the blood alcohol content, and as well as the content of alcohol. So if you're picking a strong craft beer, that your staff's aware of that. So if you're trained on 1 cup is a 12-ounce beer, just to remember that. If there are minors present, make sure everyone's aware as well about they can't hold an alcoholic beverage or consume. And so they are, for the record, they have the security measures. They have 2 points of entry with a doorman at each site. The area will be fenced. Local sheriff's office will be notified of events as well. And they do plan to have some entertainment. They do not plan gaming or gambling activities. You are permitted. So if you wanted to do any type of raffle, tip board, cards like that, you are allowed. And all bartenders have to be at least 21 years of age. And then at the bottom of my list, just a couple of things. Your license has to be posted at your event. BYOB strictly prohibited when we have a licensed premise. Serving minors is prohibited, and serving visibly intoxicated persons. The tax for alcohol is 9%, and this license does not allow for off-premise sales. So if you had, a couple cases of beer at the end, you could not sell them to anyone to take with them. If, as things grow, if you want to have like a celebration event and you have a special bottle printed or something like that, the board can approve commemorative special event bottles. So if something like that comes up and there's maybe a local craft manufacturer brewery that does a special label for you guys for some reason, the board can approve that. So that would be one exception, or under COVID. The COVID made exceptions for to-go sales. So that's all I have. I don't have any issues or concerns with the license. I've been working with Paul and Jeremy and Dwayne. Now I think this is probably your 4th or 5th licensed event in the last couple years, and I don't have any concerns myself. So
does the board have any, do the members of the board have any questions or concerns that they wish to address?
I do not.
Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the applicant's license?
I make a motion to approve the special Class C per diem multi-event beer, wine, liquor license.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Here. Just went blank. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved.
thank you. We already have payment for it, so we have your license ready to go. I already gave you the vendor packets. If you need any more vendor packets, let me know, or they're in my office. There's some hanging in the coat closet and some under the file cabinet area. So if you need anything with, this year they have those aprons and different things, or contact Lori Peck at the health department. But I wish you guys really good fundraising and good weather.
Thank you very
You're
much,
welcome.
guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
See you, Paul.
Thanks.
I'm a good.
See you, Liz.
Good job. I was a little nervous. He's the pro at the meetings. All right, so back to, since we're here, the Senate Bill 205, House Bill 12. I gave you guys some handouts that, we want to make sure we can go over, and, you're already noticing businesses are starting to close back down for in-person dining. They're takeout only. You guys have not made a formal decision on takeout mixed drinks. I included some information from St. Mary's County and Frederick County. I feel they made some good guidelines and some allowances, as well as restrictions or control. So that's something that
We already allow takeout, correct?
we haven't formally adopted anything. You guys,
People can take out when they're leaving.
any restaurant can serve beer to go. Anyone who adds the wine option can sell wine to go.
Well, under the governor's order, they could take
That
liquor
stopped.
and wine.
that stopped August 15th to where you guys have to make the formal decision. So in another section of the rule book, you guys are allowed to, notwithstanding any other provisions of the article, the Liquor Control Board may promulgate rules and regulations allowing any Class B, C, or D license to sell alcoholic beverages as provided by the licenses for off-sale consumption. So we just need to probably go on record and include it with our rules and regs if you want to do that. And if we can go beyond just a general provision and limit it. The governor's order is no longer into effect, and the House Bill 12, Senate Bill 205 is now into effect. So that requires food be purchased. It also requires or limits the hours, and gives you guys authority to have additional rules and regs in place. You have the to opt in or out. So that's basically, we're going to formally opt in or out. How you guys want to do that, that's kind of up to you. If you want to make any type of restrictions or choose not to do it at all, it's your decision.
If we opt out, do our current regulations stay in effect so that they can sell beer only to go?
Yes.
That's what I am in favor of.
You do have some restaurants that were selling some mixed drinks to go and may still be, but that's your decision.
I'd prefer not to start that here.
And I
My
believe
personal feeling.
we have to have a public hearing on that as well if we're adopting rules and regs in accordance with the bill. Liz, have you had time to look at that, or?
Yeah, I've looked at it a little. I mean, my thought is we're coming into a time where, you know, if we're going to shut restaurants down again, or if they're voluntarily doing it, you're limiting their business by telling them that they can't, you know, sell mixed drinks to go. I think most of them have been pretty compliant with that, pretty careful with how they're doing it.
I figure we're gonna, I mean, I understand your position, but I think
I mean, they're already struggling enough, these restaurants are, to
their major struggle is getting labor, as I see it right now. Waiters and waitresses, etc.
And I mean, to what Liz said, that's kind of what we're hearing across the state as well. Some have put, you know, it's a 2 drink or it's so many ounces, or the, you know.
How are you going to police that? That's the thing.
I don't know. We have like one business that marks the line where they fill it to, so that if someone were to be pulled over, it can be identified that it was filled to this line, type thing. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways. But you know, if you want to have like a work meeting on it or a little more, I can do a survey from other boards and see, hey, has anything changed or not changed? But that's kind of up to you guys. I kind of feel that there's probably less than 10 businesses that are doing it, would be my guess.
There probably are. So.
You know,
what kind of regulations did other counties put on it?
They put like it's limited to 2 drinks, or the serving size can only be so much, and the food part kind of is different from all our. In general, right now, a restaurant could sell somebody as many beers as they want to go without any food purchase, without any consideration of the hours. So we already allow that. The law reads that alcoholic beverages must be delivered in a sealed package or container. Containers must have closed cap, cork seal, or lid, no straw holes. The person receiving it must be 21. The to-go person must check ID for the customer. If this county went as far as if it's delivering off premise, which we already have delivery. So if they're doing that, they have to follow in the 2 years of inspections on the paperwork. third-party sales or deliveries are not allowed. The board reserves the right to modify this privilege at any time. This law will sunset June 30th, 2023. The board will review this policy quarterly. Initial review will happen October 1st and then quarterly after that. So some of them have gone, taken extra measures, and some have just said, hey, you can do it. You have to just follow in the guidelines of the bill. Here's another survey from another jurisdiction. They, of the 60 that answers, only 20 did to-go cocktails. 8 said they wanted to continue. 12 only used it until they were allowed to have seating. So that kind of goes with what Liz is saying. If they can't have seating inside, or they don't have it, then they want to be able to. This is St. Mary's County. For the purpose of promoting the economic recovery of different categories of small businesses in the wake of COVID, the board has adopted these regulations in accordance with 41107 of the Alcoholic Beverages article to issue a permit authorizing the sale or delivery of mixed drinks or cocktails for off-premises. The permit is effective from the time of issue until June 30th, 2023, at which time the permit shall expire and have no further force or effect. Sale or delivery of off-premises consumption permit may be issued to a holder of a Class B beer, wine, and liquor. And that's basically what ours is, because the taverns can technically do it. It doesn't say the taverns can sell 25% together. There's nothing in our rules and regs that says it has to be factory sealed or not. That's something you may want to consider, but technically a bar could already do it. It's just not spelled out in our rules that they are limited on what they can do. So we would be the restaurants that have just beer, they can already sell beer together. The restaurants with beer, wine, and liquor can sell beer and wine if they have it, which a couple do. And then it says the mixed drink or cocktail shall be purchased along with prepared food or other prepackaged snacks, or other than prepackaged snacks. The individual purchasing shall be at least 21. The log of sales for home delivered shall be kept. Copy of the receipt showing purchases. Each mixed drink or cocktail sold for off-premises consumption or delivery shall, and here's where they get into, be provided in the manufacturer's original sealed container, in a container with a closed cap, cork, seal, or lid with no holes. Be sold no later than 11. The delivery shall be made to the licensed premise. The number of mixed drinks or cocktails shall be limited to 2, 12 ounces or less drinks per single transaction. So that's kind of, if you wanted to restrict a little, that's where you would limit the amount. That's kind of what you see across the state, is that they're saying, hey, there has to be like a ratio, so to speak, 1 per order, something like that. So this one says the board may, upon finding a violation of the terms of this permit or any violation of any local rule or regulation adopted by the board, or for any cause which in the judgment of the board is necessary to promote the peace or safety of the community in which the place of business is situated, may revoke the permit. So we have that with our delivery rules as well right now. So I don't know. I think we need to update our rules and regs. And if that's something, like I said, like JG's right now could sell you a mixed drink to go. The law reads they can sell 25% to go. In general, I think we all assumed it was in a factory sealed container, but it doesn't state that. So that's something that you might want to also consider in rules and regs in the future. But the restaurants with beer, wine, and liquor, my guess is we probably have, I guess, 28 roughly. And I would be willing to guess that probably not even half of them would be wanting to participate, but there are some that do.
You see, we probably need to update our regs accordingly. So if you could draft something that for us to review, I would appreciate that.
Okay.
But it's up to the entire board. But I don't personally feel that allowing bars, restaurants to sell liquor drinks to go is going to make or break their financial survival rate.
Okay.
That's my personal view. And I'm fearful that some of these marriages that come up here and the bridesmaids and the groomsmaids, or whatever you call them, have these crazy parties at some of these rental houses. That's where my fear is, that that could get out of hand, as history has shown that it has in terms of damages. So I don't personally want to open that door. I like things the way they are, but I'm an old fogey.
If it was a canned, like right now, they're called ready-to-make cocktails, and it was factory sealed, such as the tabards that can
Like
sell.
a seltzer thing. Yeah.
Or like a margarita in a can, a Jose Cuervo margarita in a can. When we look at our rules and regs, which, I mean, that would meet the definition of a factory sealed, but it's also a mixed drink. So to me, like the Class D taverns on sale that can sell 25% to go, then that's, if you were thinking that factory sealed, you know, they're already allowed beer to go. They could technically sell you a full fifth of Jack Daniels if they wanted. It's probably not a practice, and they would charge so much it wouldn't happen, but that is something that you'd want to consider in the rules and regs. Lisa, any questions, concerns, or comments?
Yeah, I'm kind of, I get where Dave's, I do, but I also see the other side. So I guess more information, and I think we have to deal with it and decide, but that's a tough one to, because you see both sides, or I do.
Mike?
A lot of those mixed drinks are being sold in liquor stores, right?
Some of them are ready to make, but a lot of times it's probably the bartender at such a place as someone really knows their drink and they enjoy it. So if they're getting takeout, like, hey, I'd like an orange crush, or hey, that Joe, the bartender, makes a really good margarita and I'm doing takeout, so I think that's kind of how it's being used.
Right.
But I don't know. Liz, do you have any kind of, does anybody want me, like some of these other jurisdictions did a survey of the restaurants that it impacts? Do you want me to reach out to them? Anybody want me to even find out how many are or aren't, to see if?
I think that would be helpful if you did that.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a few that are doing it. Mike?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Dave, would you be okay if I did that as well? Just kind of reached out to the
See what they're doing.
Restaurants and see what policies they might have in place already, or what they,
Sure.
Okay. Right. Well, let me check to see if the American Legion, anybody's in the hallway for their hearing.
You gentlemen can come up and please take the seats by the microphone.
Nobody is in the foyer for our 9:45 for the American Legion. The applicants for our 10 o'clock hearing are here. Anybody, Liz, should we wait for our 10 o'clock or should we move forward, do you think? And then
we can, why don't we give it like another 2 minutes, and if they're not here, we'll just go ahead.
Okay. I hand delivered their hearing letter, so I know they received their letter. I hand delivered it to Mrs. Beckman in the office, and the bar staff, 2 of the bar staff were there the day I hand delivered it, so I know they received the letter.
Well, why don't we proceed with these gentlemen, and then after that, you can decide what disciplinary action to take with the American Legion.
Let me get ready. Liz said to give us 2 minutes, so we'll count down 2 minutes.
I think we have 1 minute left.
Yeah, if they're not here now, they're not coming.
Well, if they're not coming, that proposes a whole new dilemma for them, not coming to a hearing for a violation.
You gentlemen are here for Sophie's Serendipity. I assume you both will be testifying and answering questions of the board, administrator and attorney. Is that correct?
All right, Liz, are we at our 2-minute time?
Yes, we are.
Okay, because this is an advertised hearing for 10, if somebody shows up at 10 and has questions, comments, or concerns, we will consider those, but we will go ahead and start. So Dave, I'll let you read it in to the record, the hearing information, and then Liz will swear in the applicants.
We're here for a Class B beer and wine sale 7-day license provided by the Maryland Annotated Code of Alcoholic Beverages article. Would you gentlemen, this will be for Sophie Serendipity LLC, doing business as Vintage Cafe. I assume Mr. Edward Hilbig and Mr. Mark Scarfella are the licensed applicants. Would you please stand, and would the attorney please swear this gentleman in?
Would you raise your right hands, please? You do solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief.
Yes.
And could you each state your name and address for the record?
Marcus Develop, 401 Aurora Avenue, Terre Haute, West Virginia.
Edward Helbig, 119 East Huntington Street, Oakland, Maryland.
Thank you.
You guys can sit down.
Ms. Hostin, could you please proceed?
Okay, and for the record, once again, this is a hearing at 10 a.m. For a Class B beer, wine, and liquor on sale 7-day license in accordance with the Maryland Annotated Code Alcoholic Beverages Article AB 21-803, specific for Garrett County. The legal name is Sophie Serendipity LLC, doing business as the Vintage Cafe. Mr. Helbig has 1% membership. He's the local resident applicant, and Mr. Scafalo has 99% membership. The license will be issued for use at 216 East Alder Street in Oakland. Can you guys give us a little information? I've worked with you over the past month a lot, so I know a lot, but if you could tell the board briefly what you're doing and your history with restaurants.
So my restaurant over, just to give you a little background where we recently started to do this, we have a restaurant in Terre Haute, and we cater a lot over here to Sipside Lounge and at the lake and a lot of places. We've had a lot of people ask us, you know, we thought, well, we're over here so much and people really enjoy our food. So come across this little place down the road, and the old diner, we thought we'd give it a whirl. We'll do breakfast and lunch, and dinner on the weekends is what our goal is. Breakfast, lunch during the day, takeout, stuff like that. We'll open at 8, and we'll close at evening or around 9.
What's the name of your business in Terre Haute?
Sophie Serendipity.
Okay.
And we just made it the LLC. It was doing business as Vintage Cafe.
Yeah. Thank you.
Andy, you have anything you want to say?
As an Oakland resident, we need more businesses in downtown. I grew up on top of the hill here, top of Alder Street, family business downtown. But it's just nothing vibing. Get some stuff going on. Mark approached me. I was on board 100% enthusiastic.
So I'll just go over a few of our rules and regs. Like I said, the license would be a Class B beer and wine license that's defined as a restaurant, meaning food sales exceed alcohol. The license allows beer sales could be to go should you choose. You're not obligated. If you set your own policies, Mark, that's fine. I think you mentioned you probably weren't going to consider that.
No beer to go.
Okay. The proposed hours we have as Friday, Saturday, Sunday starting off.
Starting off. Till we get.
Okay.
Till we get
Yeah.
so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 8 to 9.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Okay.
Yes.
The hours on Sunday are permitted from 10 a.m. to midnight in Garrett County. In general, Monday through Saturday, the hours are 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. So I don't think you're ever going to have to worry about the hours. The premise is the diner, the former Alder Street Diner. The seating, you have seating for 53. The fire marshal was there yesterday or the day before. You have a follow-up
He's coming Monday.
Perfect. Okay.
Right. He's coming Monday for the final.
Okay.
We have the food inspection Friday.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
That was everything that was.
All of this helps up.
And your ceiling tiles.
Next Thursday, we have the health department coming, just be flat, he said flat, but just come in, you know, once we get everything set up, table, chairs.
Okay.
Give us the grade.
We have heard from the town of Oakland, they approve the restaurant. Health department approves the license if we choose to issue it early for ordering purposes. The plan, I think, was we're going to go with Monday to issue it.
Yeah.
I have it all ready to go.
Fine, whatever. I mean, like I said, we got a couple days with it.
Yeah. Okay, so just a couple of our rules and regulations. The liquor license has to be posted visible to the public, as well as your trader's license. That's what you got yesterday downstairs, your business license. Health permit should be posted as well, and your Maryland sales tax numbers. So your occupancy load, once that's issued from the fire marshal, my guess is you'll get that emailed, printed. It's a double-sided document, and that should be posted as well. All alcohol has to be purchased from a Maryland wholesaler. I gave them the list of the wholesalers for Garrett County. Perfect. Okay. Alcohol, any receipts, every alcohol that you have on your premise, you have to have a receipt for. There's to be no borrowing of alcohol. If you run out, you cannot loan alcohol to another business, and you cannot sell to another retailer, and you're not permitted to split orders with another retailer. The wine BYOB permit, we have a Class B restaurant with wine. So if you get approached by somebody wanting to bring wine in, that's allowed under certain conditions, but you would have to run it past the board for approval. It can't be on your menu. I don't know if you're going to get into that, but you might get approached with it. Wine BYOB. So if a customer wants to bring their own wine in.
We ain't going that route.
Okay.
That doesn't sound like a good plan.
Yeah.
All right.
It's not economic.
Okay. So for the premise, we're gonna 216 East Alder Street. It's a leased premise. Do you have any plans to do cafe, table, and chair outside at all?
Not at the end of this year.
Okay. If you do, we need to get approval from this board and from the town of Oakland. So if it becomes something where, hey, you want to set up a small little bistro table out there and it's the town approves, the board, I don't believe would have any reason to deny it, but we'd have to extend your premise, whether it be seasonal or something like that.
We had talked about setting my right in front of stores that like to operate there. That's
On the sidewalk.
Yeah, just up against the edge of the building, but we ain't really got any more room than that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only,
Plus the pitch is
It's way
pretty
down
steep in
hill.
that spot, so I don't see it being feasible right now.
yeah.
If you want the board to include that in the premise for the future, we can just run it past the town of Oakland at that point, if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to do that this year. I mean,
I don't think anything that should be.
Would
Once we see how things are.
would you have any objection to that? We
No, I don't.
did it with Cornish Cafe and a couple others.
Right.
Right across the street, they're taking up a couple of parking places.
And that
That might be a pinch.
could be a street side eatery, and it's good for anybody, unless they're paying for that. Okay, so alcohol must be purchased from the wholesalers. Invoices have to be on premise, available for inspection. I'll be inspecting Dave Marple for the Alcohol Tobacco Commission. He would be coming in to inspect. So they can be originals or copies, but they have to be in an area that somebody has access to and not.
What's that now again?
All your receipts have to be on site. A copy or the original. Employment of minors. Do you guys, are you going to be counter service or sit down on the server?
Sit down.
So your servers can be 18 as long as whoever is acting as the bartender is 21.
Well, he's younger than me, and we're in good shape.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Under 18 can bus tables. So if you have Andy's son wants to clear tables or wash dishes, that's okay. They just can't be serving the alcohol as a server. If they were waiting on a table with no alcohol, that would be allowed. So if for some reason you knew certain customers weren't going to order alcohol or something, but you just don't want to put them in a position where they get eager to work and like, well, I'll take this table. And the next thing you know, they're serving a beer and it's the compliance check. Tips and TAM certification. Andy took the E-tips certification, the online, which the controller's office doesn't recognize. So the next available class in Garrett County, they will send somebody to for the full certification. What type of security measures do you guys have in place for carding or serving or just in general?
Pretty much we do with the other restaurant. We have somebody that cards, you know, we're a small business, so it's like one waitress every shift.
And I have been to their establishment in Terre Haute a couple times. So
it's small.
yeah,
Bigger than this, but you know.
Okay. Well, some places put a policy in place that any customer that appears to be under 30 or under 40, that's just going to card. Okay, you're going to card everybody. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, we ain't going down that path.
Oh, okay. If you had someone that came in with a vertical license in Maryland, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, under 21 licenses vertical, do you have any policies on how you deal with someone's license that's a provisional license?
Vertical license.
Okay, so if you get someone who just turns 21, they may still have one.
Yeah, I've not seen that.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. Yeah.
They should, my son turns 20 in December. I think that it expires like within 30 days.
Correct. Now, during COVID, when we had everything was extended, so if you get a vertical license, we always say make sure you look twice at it, check it, you know, because it could be expired with someone passed it on, anything like that. So that's one of the obvious indicators on the driver's license that they're just turned 21 or under 21.
That was provisional license instead of it being horizontal. So that's a dead giveaway when they come in and get that. It's the law.
And I'll have that all in your packet. Usually I have it in my folder here, but I don't see it in here. I'll have it in the packet. The packet I gave you yesterday, it's probably in there too. There's probably a sheet called 4 states, and it'll show you
I brought everything with me.
Perfect. Okay. So I'll give you a little more on that just so that we have everything. It's illegal to serve a minor. It's also illegal to serve a visibly intoxicated person, and you have the right to refuse service at any moment, as long as you're not discriminating. And self-service is prohibited on the licensed premise, so you couldn't let a customer go grab their own alcohol. We have fines and suspensions guidelines for sales to a minor. First offense is a $300 fine, letter of reprimand. Second offense is a $500 fine up to a 10-day suspension. The third offense within 2 years is a $1,000 fine and up to a 30-day suspension. And our fourth fine is our maximum fine and a 1-year suspension. The compliance checks, the Maryland State Police conduct the compliance checks. They'll come in with a cadet, male or female, under 21, using their driver's license. They will not come in with a fake ID. They're going to have their own license. They're going to ask to order alcohol and see if you serve them. Last year, I think we did 4 rounds of compliance checks. So that's where you want to make sure your staff's aware, and they will most likely get charged. The server will get charged criminally, and you guys as the applicants will come in front of us.
State Police West Virginia does the same. They do our check for them.
Okay, so you know this board, you'll come in front of this board if there is an infraction. If you were to fail a compliance check, you should notify our office so that we hear it from you and not in the police report, and we'll do whatever we can to get that staff in training or give you additional information. Any incident involving law enforcement on your premise or failed compliance checks needs reported. So if for some reason you call law enforcement to come in, let us know so that we hear it from you and not on the radio. Do you plan on any type of entertainment?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay.
You're in the town of Oakland, so town zoning applies. The fire marshal rules and regulations on entertainment apply. You would probably be allowed acoustic, maybe one person, but
We
you're
don't have
small,
a
so,
permit. It wouldn't be enough.
yeah,
Yeah, that would put
okay.
Plus there's two other places.
it. Yeah. They can open the door. Let's go.
Do you plan on any type of jukebox or anything
No.
that takes coins? Okay, if you do, they require an amusement sticker license from the clerk's office downstairs where we were yesterday. Gaming and gambling activities, strictly prohibited. You're not allowed. If the fire department wants to come in for a fundraiser night, their staff can sell tickets or things like that, but your staff is not permitted, even if you're the member. That's the main questions that I have. Last on our list, just in general, nudity and sexual display is not permitted on a licensed premise. Serving minors is prohibited. Serving visibly intoxicated persons is prohibited. Our alcoholic beverage articles online. If you have any questions or want any copies of rules, let me know. I'll have our local rules and reg packet for you. We spoke alcohol's taxed at 9%.
Yeah.
There's no combining of alcohol bottles. So if you have a couple different bottles of wine, you can't combine them. Clean Indoor Air Act is in effect in Maryland, so smoking is prohibited inside your premise. And we've had violations where if there's cooks smoking outside the back door in the kitchen, the health department frowns on that as well. So they need to be away from not standing in the door if it's raining in the back of the kitchen smoking. There are advertisement restrictions for alcohol. Alcohol cannot be free, so you can't say buy one beer, get one free. If you have any questions on how you might want to advertise something, okay, that comes with alcohol, just let us know. And then on the bottom of our rules and regs, because we see this, there's probably, I'm going to guess, 20, 30 different varieties of licenses. And some have different privileges. So if you think someone else is doing something, unusual and you plan to do it yourself, check with our office to see if it's permitted, because they might have an option to sell wine to go and you don't. So if you want to sell bottles of wine to go, you can add that option, but you can't just do it in general.
It's up to me.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions for me or any more information you want to let me or the board know? No.
Does members of the board and the attorney have any questions for the applicants? Not hearing none.
I don't.
Do I have a motion?
I don't.
Thank you. I have a motion to approve the application for Sophie's Serendipity for a Class B beer and wine 7-day license.
I make a motion to approve the license, the Class D, B, and W on sale 7-day license pending the outstanding administrative items.
Which is your health permit and your fire marshal.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And good luck.
All right, so we'll be ready on Monday. I have the license ready now. It's
Can we just email that to the
well, you're gonna have to come in to get the license.
Oh,
So
yeah.
just come on up and I'll have it ready to issue. And then you can get your order, and you can't open to the public until you have your health permit.
Right.
But
We had to escape. I mean, honestly, we're a couple days away.
okay, that's fine. But you can,
We got a couple big items.
gotcha. You can get the license and get set up on setting up your accounts and ordering alcohol ahead. Okay. Pat, did you have any questions or?
I was just here as a show of support.
Okay.
I've worked with Mark for over a year. Just here to tell you that good guy is going to be a great addition to the town.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you know where to find me if you have questions.
Yeah, we'll see you.
All right. Thanks,
All
guys.
right, bye-bye.
See y'all.
Thank you.
All right, Liz, what's your advice on the American Legion that failed to show up for their hearing?
Well, we can move forward without them and just, if you choose, or we can reschedule and give them another chance. But my thought is you gave them notice in person. They can't say they didn't get it.
I'm going to recuse myself in consideration on this topic. Up to you two.
My opinion is to move forward with the hearing. I mean, that's,
Okay, if we
Okay.
do that, we just read in the inspection report. Is that what we would do, Liz?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with that too. Yeah.
And then, Liz, do you want to take over that part then?
Sure.
I was there. I was one of the inspectors at the time. So if you have questions, if I'm allowed to answer, I will, or anything like that, just let us know what to do. But if we need to read in the inspection or the letter, we'll let you do that, Liz.
Do you want me to also read in why we're here, or is a member of the board going to do that?
I think Dave could do that, the 940 top of the second page, Dave. I think you could read that in.
I'm sorry, I folded everything up.
It's okay.
there we go.
Top of the second page. If Dave's recusing himself, should he be reading it in as a chairperson?
I'll go ahead and read it in.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we are here for a 9:40 a.m. hearing to conduct a show cause continuance hearing as a result of violations AB Article Section 6-311, restrictions on purchases and sales by retail dealer, and AB Article Section 1-408, record keeping and reporting requirements. The business entity name is Oakland American Legion, post number 71. The licensees are Mark A. Grimm, Moses Miller, and Michael Beard. The business is located at 423 Memorial Drive in Oakland. This hearing is a result of a failed inspection on July 6, 2021 at the licensed establishment. On July 6, 2021 at approximately 1:00 p.m., Maryland Alcohol Tobacco Commission Field Enforcement Agent Jeff Hernan and Deborah Alston of the Liquor Control Board office conducted a routine liquor dealer inspection. Alcoholic beverages that were not purchased from a wholesaler were found on the premises. This practice is a violation of the Alcoholic Beverage Article Section 6-311, restrictions on purchases and sales by retail dealer, and Alcoholic Beverage Article Section 1-408, record keeping and reporting requirements. Is there anyone here from the establishment?
Let the record reflect nobody is in the room.
All right, so I'm going to just reiterate the facts that I went through before about the July 6th inspection and the results of that inspection, and being that there is no one present from the establishment to either call witnesses or offer testimony, this board has the authority to issue a violation based on that, based on the the violation of the Alcoholic Beverage Code.
So the board could make a motion now based on hearing.
Yes.
Okay.
And seeing the inspection report and the history of purchasing without going through a wholesaler and not having receipts on site.
Right, and this was their first offense.
Yes, it was. So it was their first offense for failure to keep records and receipts for alcohol on site.
Right. I make a motion that we impose a letter of reprimand from our office for the Oakland American Legion Post 71 for record keeping and reporting requirements. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? We can pass it with that. Okay.
For the record, Mr. Moe was present as a customer in the establishment at the time of the inspection and is abstaining from any activity as far as voting.
Okay. Motion is seconded and approved by mutual consent.
All right, I will send them a letter of reprimand. Part of, they had a question about wine, BYOB, and they are not permitted for wine BYOB. So I will probably include that in the letter to make it clear that that only applies to Class B restaurants or a Class D restaurant. So
You think that's how that come about?
nobody knows how it came about, but the question came up by the commander. Could he bring wine in with a BYOB permit? And I told him he could not. So I want it on file as well in the letter that they do not qualify for that, unless you guys have any objection to me putting that in the letter, just so that if they were here today, I would have discussed that. Since they're not here, would want to just make sure that everybody knows the rules of a Class D restaurant license or tavern license. Liz, do you see any reason for me to not put that in the letter, or?
No, I would include that.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments or questions about the letter? If they have feedback and want to come to the next hearing, do you want them to come? Okay. All right. Well, hearing none, I'll draft a letter and send it to them. I'll probably hand deliver it again, just because I think we had trouble with the mail going once to their PO box or something. So it's close by. I'll just drop it off. All right. Well, that would conclude the violation hearing for the American Legion. Our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, October 4th. As you guys recall, we changed it from the second Thursday because of Autumn Glory. Well, Autumn Glory is technically, I think, the third Thursday this year. And we may have one application. Lee's Corner Market, otherwise known as Kurt's Corner, wants to possibly upgrade to a beer, wine, and liquor license. So they have till Monday to get me their application with the 6 signatures. So if they get me an application, we'll have the Monday hearing. Otherwise, I'm Shooter's Bar and Grill, whether there's going to be a transfer that there's rumors that they might have somebody interested in the location, but nothing's been confirmed or called into this office. That's about all I have going on. Anybody else have anything to report or comment on?
Question. The lease upgrade of their license.
Yes.
And transfer of Shooters.
Mm-hmm.
Those are administrative items, correct?
Lee's is upgrading from beer, wine to beer, wine, liquor. So that would be a full advertised hearing.
Okay. Going to liquor.
Yeah. Same with Shooters. If they move, even if they moved in the same election precinct, we'd still have to have a hearing. And if somebody's coming into their spot there at the Plaza, Sand Flat, they would have to have a hearing as well. Lee's has an opportunity because they're already in place. I have all their paperwork on file. They've been background checked. So if they can get, there's 10 signatures this weekend and come in on Monday with their application. Monday's my deadline to the newspaper. The newspaper puts those posts in at 10 a.m. on Tuesday morning. So if they can get it in, we can put them on the hearing. They might not, when I give them the cost upgrade, it's about $5,000 to upgrade from beer and wine to beer, wine, and liquor with our one-time issuing fee. So they might weigh that into the time of year and maybe come back in the spring.
July 1st.
Yes.
My what I'm getting at is that some of these things, like Lee's, they've already been approved for beer and wine. So administratively, to go to liquor, is it in the statute that we must, in the state statute, that we must have a hearing?
Yes, it is.
Because we can't do a local regulation that you as administrator?
No, it's in the statute, and I mean, it's a whole different license.
Yeah, I'm just trying to save time.
Yeah, no. Because that's something that I think the public should have input, you know, it makes sometimes a difference to somebody if it was, you know, even if you were like on premise with just beer and wine, and someone might object to beer, wine, and liquor. So I would say no. And I mean, for sure, currently we could not. I don't know on a legislative request. I don't think anybody in general across the state's allowed to do that. Our next meeting, we need to start next 2 meetings working on some legislative items. So we know we want to change the wine festival to a 2-day. I've had a request from one of the hair salons about a salon license. So I'm going to give them information on what other counties have for a salon license. If they wanted to just get our beer and wine license, they could, and it's not an unreasonable amount of money. The salon license in general across the state, each jurisdiction, that puts a restriction on the amount of servings. So most say 5 ounces. And when I talked with the salon owner, you know, I explained to her that storage of alcohol, that maybe the little individual serving bottles are 187 milliliters, so it's called splits, and they're a little over 5 ounces. So maybe we want to look at if we want to put a serving size on. Now, she does not want to be serving someone 2 glasses of wine while they're getting their hair done. But if storage becomes an issue, then maybe
Want to drink wine while they're underneath the hairdryer.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
is this for like bridesmaids parties or
that's
like
what
the
I asked
wedding
you.
party?
That is popular. And
Yeah,
I was going to say, just like Dave said about the bachelorette parties, you have the bridal party going in. So it is popular. And technically they could bring their own in. That when, if the salon owner allowed it. So that's, I think, more where likely it would occur. So I told the owner that I would show her what a salon license looks like in other jurisdictions, and that we could introduce legislation to piggyback on someone else's, or if she wanted no restrictions on the servings, we could just issue it as a beer and wine license. There's nothing that would prohibit that. The Class D doesn't say if it's for a bar, restaurant, tavern, or store, or salon. Would you guys want to restrict the quantity for a service like that?
Well, I don't see them chugging a whole bottle of wine.
Okay, well,
let's wait and see what happens.
I'll show you guys the salon license. I'll share it with her, and then we'll see what's going on. I think we have a couple other legislative things, but nothing too pressing. I think they're just like, as we kind of catch like a update in the code. So I have on there for the beer and wine festival, make it 3 days. The wine festival, make it more than one, because our wine festival says we only have one. Well, we used one at the town of Mountain Lake, and then if we wanted something else, I don't think that would, when we first created a wine festival license, said, oh no, there can only be one. I think it's a popular fundraiser, and I don't see a concern with if there's more than one in the county in the year, if you guys do or not. But and then I also put to consider a beer, wine, and liquor festival. So the state offers that, and that would allow sampling of distilled spirits, but that's up to you. But it's in my wrote in here. And then Deep Creek Beverage asked for the board to consider allowing 18-year-olds to sell alcohol in a package store. So I wrote it down. I think we'd get some pushback on that, but I put it in here. And then the notice of advertisement, I put to consider doing that online. Had some issues with the last couple notices, just trying to work out with the newspaper when payments collected, who's emailing who, and you know, if that's something you guys want to consider to we already put the notice up online. If you want to skip the local newspaper and just do a online advertisement, that's other liquor boards do that. So that would be, my list is pretty short for legislation so far.
My whole focus with legislation in the past is try to consolidate so we don't have so many different licenses and that we have discretion to move should something come up that we never anticipated, like Grantsville, for example. That's what I'd like you to look at.
Okay, well, that's where I would think we come up with a festival license that allows up to 3 days with different amounts. And same with the wine festival, maybe we take out that limit. And then, you know, we can just issue a wine festival license. The wine festival license lets them serve samples and does not allow and to go, you know, so if you're doing a nonprofit license, you can't sell to go, but with a festival license, you can. So yeah, I can work on that to streamline them a little more and leave them open for additional days. Maybe we just put an additional day cost and don't something even like say that. 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, just put each additional day, something like that. All right, well, that's about all I have. Anybody else have anything?
I have a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion, we adjourn the meeting.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.